Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
The Saratoga City Council meeting, an inside look at the decisions that affect you and our community.
Good evening and welcome to City Council meeting September 15th, 2020. We are in our new and renovated City Council room. And before we start, I do want to thank some people that made this possible, meaning Commissioner Saratoga and his team, Commissioner Madigan and her team, and Commissioner Frank and his team. So it was a real team effort to get this room up and running, and I thank you all for that. So with that, we have 2 public hearings this evening. The first public hearing is local law number 2 of 2020, tax cap override, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Madigan.
Thank you, Mayor. So this law is written in standard language used by a multitude of New York State jurisdictions that have looked into the override of the property tax cap. It authorizes the council the option to override property tax cap for the purposes of establishing the 2021 budget. It does not require the council to do so, and we are not specifying the amount of the override with the passage of this law. The law has been circulated to the council in a timely fashion, and it is included and uploaded with the agenda. A vote will be taken this evening, and I'm hoping for full council support so we can maximize all reasonable options and do our best to deliver the services that departments have requested through their requested budgets this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone that wishes to speak on local law number 2 of 2020, tax cap override, please step forward to the mic and state your name and address.
Good evening, Council. My name is Sam Brewer. I live on Lake Avenue. I'm keenly aware of the city's financial challenges that it faces during the pandemic. I've listened to numerous briefings from Commissioner Madigan regarding the state of the city finances. You have to keep in mind most households are under the same pressures that the city is under. And I think that as the council continues to issue more debt in order to cover its operating expenses, I think that the creditors are going to insist that taxes be raised in order to cover that debt service. So I'd like to see the council take a stand against tax increases, which I believe is reflective of the citizenry at large, in order to prevent taking a property, foreclosures, and that downward spiral that is sure to follow should we decide upon that course of action. So I'm against any tax increase or a statutory removal of the limit of the property tax cap. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Then we will close this public hearing.
Yes, we're voting this evening.
We'll close this public hearing. We'll have a vote later on the Commissioner of Finance's agenda. Next on the public hearing agenda is to amend Chapter 225, Section 225-77, stop intersection. I'll turn it over to Commissioner Dalton.
So, all I have is my discussion and vote. But that is to amend Chapter 225, Section 225-77 of the City Code, Schedule 12. This is to allow a 4-way stop to be installed at the intersection of Grand Avenue and Walnut Street. It would stop sign would be on Grand Avenue. The direction of travel would be both at the intersection of Walnut Street.
Okay, if anybody would like to speak on that, please come to the mic, state your name and address. This is to discuss amend Chapter 225, Section 225-77, stop intersection.
There you go.
Okay, and Commissioner, we're voting on this, so we will be closing this, correct? Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Frank?
Present.
Commissioner Madigan?
Present.
Commissioner Saratoga?
Here.
Commissioner Bolton?
Present.
Mayor Kelly?
Here.
Supervisor Beach?
Here.
Supervisor Gasser? Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the public comment period. Public comment period will be for 15 minutes. I ask that you try to keep your comments brief, up to 2 minutes. A bell will ring, and I have a timer here tonight on my phone. Please be respectful to the speakers while they're, and please address the council as a whole. If you would like to submit your comments in writings, you may do so by regular or electronic mail or by providing them to the city clerk here tonight. Anyone who wishes to address the council may do so at this time. Please provide your name, address, and your comments.
How you doing? My name is Bryce Belvin. I live at 289 Jefferson Street, number 17. I'm in desperate need of a permit because water is entering my living room as we speak. Julian Fonseca has worked with me for the last year. The tickets that he wrote remedied half of the problem, but 50% of the water coming into my living room is still no good. I'm battling black mold and all sorts of other things with 3 different types of chemicals right now as we speak. The last time I talked to him was on July 24th. He told me that there's only 2 people writing permits, and the city isn't going to issue any overtime, and that's just the way it is. So if you could do anything about that, that would be great.
Could you give me your address again, please?
Sure. 289 Jefferson Street, Unit 17.
We will look into this tomorrow.
And the problem predates COVID by 3 years. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name's Darlene McGraw. I live at 1584 Jefferson Terrace. Somebody I was speaking with this morning told me, you know the darn city better than the people that run the city. And I am doing work. I am filling potholes with manure, and I am spray painting the manure. I am writing potholes matter. Hi, DPW. Hi, SSPD. Different places. Threaten to arrest me, and I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm Richard Sellers with the Success Group. There was somebody here last week talking about the cost of startup of a change to a city manager form with wards. I happened to see a comment in one of the papers by one of the people last year that said 100,000 to 300,000. I don't think anybody knows, but I just saw that since then. Saratoga, or Common Sense Saratoga, just put financials up on their site, and there's one number in there I absolutely agree with. They're saying a city manager will cost the city yearly $262,000, and I think that's a fair and honest estimate. Now, they also come to the conclusion, though, that there would be a $320,000 savings, and to get to that number, they would end up firing basically 9 people, the 5 deputies and the 4 commissioners, and that would get to about that number. But when you look at a realistic way to run the city, it would actually cost about $685,000 more than what they're saying, because the deputies, where they're taking out $471,000, you need to put that money back in, and that's just for 4 of the deputies, because I'm also assuming they're going to put in a city manager, which isn't mentioned, but it was in the 2017 financial impact statement, about 140,000, which is not a bad number, but no one person can do the job of 9 of you. It's questionable that 2 could, so I'm not believing that. And the transition task force has the ability to add people back in. One of those people, I'm guessing, would be an assistant to the mayor, which with benefits would be $75,000 to $80,000. If the mayor would need help with scheduling and council meeting. The final thing is the internal audit is in there, which they've been wanting to do since 2017, if not before.
Your time is up, sir.
That's $75,000 more.
Thank you
very much.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening. My name is Pat Kane. I live at 19 Marion Place. I had not planned on speaking tonight until I hear some of the facts and figures that Mr. Sellers is sharing with you, which are wholly inaccurate. So I'm not going to get into the details for you, but what he just said has about 5 different major issues, naming the amount of money that we're going to save from a charter change, and I use the word save. And but again, these are not something we had planned on talking to tonight, but we'd be happy to get you that information very soon. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Council. Sam Brewer from Lake Avenue. I was in touch with my daughter a few days ago, who's down in college down south, and she told me that the official numbers that her university is posting regarding COVID infections are a drastic understatement. She estimated that there are at least 400 to 500 people on her campus of 8,000 to 10,000 people who are infected, just based on who she knows and who they know who are infected. I've taken the liberty of copying some of the maps from the New York Times that I clipped out during the pandemic and gave you copies of those just to show you that we're still in an exponential rise of the number of cases, and the virus is still poorly understood from a symptom longevity standpoint with regard to cardiovascular, lung, and brain damage. So I'd encourage you to look at threat reduction strategies to include holding meetings in larger spaces like the casino. This room's about 9,000 cubic feet. You can hide in the ceiling. The casino's at least 120,000 cubic feet. If you divide that by the number of people, that gives you an additional risk metric that you can use to calculate what the risk is per unit time of contracting a disease. So the larger the space, the better. So I'd encourage you to continue to reduce risk. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? At this time, any comments from the council?
Yes, I have one. I'd like to respond to already we're starting with what are we going to save and what is it going to cost for the new city charter. And my statement would be that for both groups to wait on an analysis of any potential cost increase or cost savings based on what is presented at our next city council meeting, which will be October 6th, and what I present as a working 2021 comprehensive budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I'd also just like to add that I think that to avoid this kind of back and forth, the constant stream of back and forth about the charter, I would urge both groups to consider doing a public forum so that the public could ask questions and really have this thoroughly vetted at one time to as many people as possible.
Any other questions from the council? Then we'll close the public comment period and we'll go on to our one presentation. And this will be a presentation on the Palmertown Range new conservation effort in Saratoga County. Tina Carton, Administrator of Parks, Open Space, and Sustainability, will be our MC. Go ahead, Tina.
Good evening. I wanted to introduce everyone to the Palmertown Range conservation effort that is currently going on. I'm going to share a brief video that I think does a good job introducing the topic, and then go into a few more slides.
Ultimately, we hope that this project will bring a lot of folks together to think in a big way about what we have here. We we talk about the Palmertown Initiative. This is the Saratoga foothills to the Adirondacks, and it connects our downtown area all the way to the wilderness of the Adirondacks. So that involves many communities, many landowners, a lot of people who are interested in the resource but may not know that much about it. And it's going to take some time to educate everybody.
And you certainly see it with generations younger than mine, that they're much more interested around here in getting out. And we can only make that happen if we've planned for it and we have conserved the lands that allow that to happen.
The opportunities of the Palmerton Ridge Trail are multi-use and multi-objective. But first and foremost, it's the ability to live here and be able to get on your trail right from your home, right from your office, and connect to the biggest state parks in the area and create economic opportunities along the way for communities.
So yes, I see tremendous opportunities for innovation in the way that we use those forests and the way that we use those lands that would be beneficial not only for preservation but also for economic growth.
There's a lot of different businesses that could benefit from a conservation project like Palmertown. To open up a business like that, I'm sure they would do very well.
Thinking locally right here, the Palmertown Range waters provide all of the drinking water for Saratoga Springs.
That water needs to go somewhere. And if it is running off and it is carrying pollutants with it, one of the things that going down through the Palmertown Range means that those waters get cleaned, they get cleansed as they go through before they go into water systems.
New York, I think I mentioned before, has almost 60 species of native orchids. I think we have even more than Hawaii or Florida, which is a surprise to a lot of people. But I found so many plants here that I had never seen before in my whole life.
That I want to be outside. It always feels like I'm free.
Thank you.
So we're just going to go through a few slides. So the next slide, Lisa. So the vision really for the Palmertown is to establish an area as a regional recreation destination and conserving its critical important natural resources, all while bolstering the region's forest products and recreation tourism industries. Project Milestone is the Sarah Falk Friendship Trail Fund. So this year, Saratoga Plan was generously awarded a $500,000 grant through the Sarah Falk Friendship Trail. And with that grant, they're able to envision a whole trail network traversing the property all the way from the city of Saratoga Springs to Moreau State Park. And the grant's going to underwrite planning, design, and stewardship of 20 miles of publicly accessible and permanently conserved trails. And right now they're working on a master plan for the entire area, as well as trail design for over 20 miles of trails. And they've already actually had meetings with the designer on site and looked at the areas that are already conserved to try to figure out where those trails would best go. So we're talking about an extremely large area. I do have handouts on the side next to the agenda, and I gave them to the city council members. But it's 8,000 acres that they're looking to protect. and it's making a hub between Moreau State Park, the Lincoln Mountain Forest, Daniel Road State Forest. And one day when we have the Greenbelt Trail completed, then we'll also be able to get right down to the state park. And it's an interface really between the Adirondacks and then these urban centers. There's a lot of people involved in this. We actually have a meeting tomorrow with everyone, but we're trying to, right now, every municipal leader has kind of sent someone to represent them. So these are all of the villages and organizations that are currently in the group that have been meeting monthly about this. So the project milestones, already 280 acres have been conserved in Greenfield. There's a transfer of 700 acres that went from McGregor Prison to Moreau State Park. Looking facilitation of a donation of another 500 acres to Skidmore College. Conserving 890 acres of the Smith Farm along the Hudson and Moreau. Looking at all the different trails. They have a coordinator that they hired. There's the guidance committee that's been meeting. And then they're also creating a number of subcommittees. And the first of the film series that you saw, but there's 4 other films that also have been released at this time. So the ongoing work of the guidance committee is really steering the project, completing the master trail plan and site-specific trail designs, looking for public outreach and engagement, land conservation efforts, and also trying to do education on the plan as well as what type of economic opportunities that this could give. And this isn't looking to conserve the land not to do things with it, but we're looking at snowmobiling, skiing, still allowing hunting. So this is not the type of conservation effort in which when the land's conserved, you'll not be able to go onto it. This is really for everyone to use the lands to the best of their abilities. So I just wanted to also share some of the findings that Rails to Trails Conservancy, they have trail counters throughout the country and municipalities and different organizations that have been giving them data. They've also been doing a number of survey, and what they found is that trail use is 79% higher than pre-COVID. And I think anybody who follows Facebook has probably seen all of their friends and all the postings of where they're going and what they're doing, and everybody's been out. 78% say it's more important to have access to places to walk and bike separate from vehicular traffic. 75% believe that trails contribute significantly to the well-being of a community. 66% are getting outside more, 52% are exercising in their immediate neighborhood on local trails. They're not really traveling. 46% say they now consider trails and open space to be important. So this is an increase of what it previously was. And 46% believe that open space really does help reduce their stress level. And so, I put a little graphic in there because we all do need to be aware when we're out in public spaces. We do need to protect ourselves, try to stay close to home, make sure we do social distancing, wear masks, be cognizant of others. But we have really been blessed through COVID for the amount of open space that we have available, and for our state park network, and for the city parks, and for all of the different opportunities that we have. And this Palmertown Range project really can add to the future of Saratoga County. So Saratoga Plan on their website, they have a whole page. This is really working. Saratoga Plan and Open Space Institute have been the ones that have kicked off this project. But there are 5 videos that are accessible there, and I would tell everyone to reach out. They're really beautiful, like you kind of saw in that trailer video. They've done a really nice job of presenting the county to a really positive, it's really positive. It's really beautiful to see the images. And right now, when everybody is, been a little stressed out, it's kind of a nice reprieve to go watch them.
Great. Thank you, Tina. I just want to say this is such a great project, and it's very ambitious. And I do think that a couple comments. One is it's really beautiful to see Sarah Folk memory on here. I mean, it's really a great thing because she was a big part of our community. And the other thing is I walk every day at the parks in Saratoga, at the state park, and the increase has been tremendous. It is overwhelming what you see out there. So having this for tourism coming in the future is just huge. So I know it's ambitious. I know you work hard on it every day, and so with all your colleagues in those different communities. So thank you, and please continue on.
Yeah, we're really excited. I think this will be a great addition to Saratoga County.
Yes, I do have a few comments. I really want to thank you for this presentation because I have been looking for more information on the Palmertown Range, and I know I can go to the website, but having a minute to do it is hard to find. But you also made a presentation to us at the last City Council meeting on the Open Space Advisory Plan. So what I really want to do right now is just thank you for all of the work that you do on behalf of the city, whether it's with the climate, environmental, conservation, sustainability work, our open space, complete streets. You do so much work on behalf of the city, and I want you to know that I really appreciate it and really appreciated having yet another presentation from you this evening, Tina.
Oh, thank you.
Same here.
Thank you, Tina. Okay, moving on to our, there's no executive sessions tonight, so moving on to our consent agenda. I move that the City Council approve the consent agenda as included with this agenda. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes. On to the Mayor's Department. My first item is an appointment to the Recreation Commission. I am pleased to reappoint Derek Legal to the Recreation Commission. Having served as the Commission's chair for the last 7 years, Derek has agreed to another term once his term expires on September 18th. We are grateful for his continued service to our community. Derek was originally appointed September 19th, 2006, and reappointed September 17th, 2013. His term will run from September 19th until September 16th, 2027. Wow, that seems a really long time. So I thank Derek for all of his work. My next item is an announcement for the census response rates. The city's 2020 census self-response rate is currently 63%. This is far below our goal of 80%. Each child counted in the census represents on an average of $2,700 per year for our school district's federal funding every year for the next 10 years. So please visit my2020census.com and complete your census today. Our children are counting on us to be counted. Thank you, Saratoga Springs. My next appointment is the Unified Development Ordinance, known as the UDO, Draft 2 release. And you could look up here. There's some slides that you might want to visually look at while I read. The UDO Draft 2 documents and maps are now uploaded on the city's website on the UDO page. The public comment period is open and will run until November 25th, which is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. As a reminder to the council, we have a special city council meeting for the presentation by Camaros this Thursday at 6 p.m. via Zoom. The meeting will be live streamed and recorded on the city's website. Over the next couple of months, Camaros will present to the Planning Board and the Design Review Commission via Zoom 6 p.m. on September 24th. Camaros will make 3 presentations to the public via Zoom, 12 noon and 6 p.m. on September 29th and 10 a.m. on September 30th. With time for Q&A. My staff will lead multiple in-person workshops for the public between October 19th and 30th, and details on this are forthcoming. My next item is discussion and vote authorization for the mayor to sign workforce housing deed 168 Jefferson Street, Unit 1. This will be the 8th workforce unit sold of the 11 original Jefferson Street workforce housing units secured by the city through a density bonus to the developer, Steve Ethier. The purchaser's household income is below 80% AMI, which is required by the deed covenants, and is also a veteran. Of the 3 units remaining after this sale, 2 are under contract and nearly finished with the approval and are in their approval process. I expect the deeds to be presented to the City Council at the next agenda. Therefore, I move that the City Council authorize the mayor to sign a workforce housing deed 168 Jefferson Street, Unit 1. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The matter passes. My next item is discussion and vote, return to rec operation plan for City Council review and approval. We are pleased to welcome back our programs and facilities. Although this year we will certainly look different than the previous years, we can assure you that our focus is on safety and fun for all participants has not changed. We have studied the New York State Sports and Recreation Guidelines in order to develop new protocols for our activities. We encourage our residents to view the Return to Rec Operation Plan for complete details and understanding, along with reviewing our program information at www.saratogarec.com. For your family safety is our number one concern, and as the city works to return to play. I move that the City Council approve the Return to Rec Operation Plan. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes. And that concludes the mayor's agenda. On to accounts.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is discussion and vote. City Council approval of resolution for official newspapers. Per the city charter, section 13.3, the council shall designate not more than 2 newspapers of general circulation to be the official newspaper or newspapers of the city of Saratoga Springs. Upon review of circulation and cost effectiveness, we have found that the Daily Schenectady Gazette and Saratoga Today to be the best value with the largest circulation. Therefore, I move to adopt the resolution designating the Daily Gazette and Saratoga Today as the official newspapers of the city of Saratoga Springs as included with this agenda, and that is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Sorry. I just wanted to say I'm glad to see Saratoga Today on that list, as it's our local Saratoga Springs-based newspaper. So happy to see that. Thank you, Commissioner Frank.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. The second item is award of bid, extension of bid for fire suppression services to SRI Fire Sprinkler LLC. Upon the recommendation of the Department of Public Works, I move to extend the bid for fire suppression services to SRI Fire Sprinkler LLC for an additional year under the same terms, conditions, and prices as included in bid 2019-35, and that's a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. The third item is award of bid, extension of bid for precast manholes, catch basins, dry wells, risers, frames, and covers to Paletti Stone Corp. Upon the recommendation of the Department of Public Works, I move to extend the bid for precast manholes, catch basins, dry wells, risers, frames, and covers to Paletti Stone Corp for an additional year under the same terms, conditions, and prices as in bid 2019-31. That's a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. My last item number 4 is discussion and vote, resolution to extend temporary outdoor seating areas to October 31st, 2020. Our downtown restaurants have had a great success with outdoor seating. Therefore, we would like to extend the date a second time. Currently, it expires on October 7th, and we are looking to extend the outdoor seating until October 31st, 2020 to tie into the standard 136 licensing. Therefore, I move to adopt the resolution extending outdoor seating to midnight October 31st as included with the agenda, and that's a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have heard from a lot of the restaurants that they'd like to stay open through December. Is that going to be something we can address as we get further into the season?
I would say that would be a Commissioner of Public Works comment. It's a plowing issue at that point.
Right. Well, hopefully we can brainstorm it before we get to the end of October, because I know it is a huge part of their success over the summer, and they'd like to stay open as long as they can, and I'd like to see that happen as well.
Yeah, I just don't think we can have a guarantee there. You know, I think that we're all in support of helping, but I just don't know, Mother Nature is Mother Nature here. We're in the North Country, so if we get a storm, and again, I'm deferring to you, Commissioner.
Right.
So, of course, we'll do what we can do, but let's get to the 31st and see where we're at.
Great.
Okay?
Yep.
Great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. On to Finance.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I get started, I'd just like to say that it's terrific being back in this room. The Department of Public Works did a great job on this room. The lighting fixtures above what will be the City Council table, which also looks amazing, looks terrific. And so thank you very much. All right, with that, the first item on my agenda is an announcement about the 2021 comprehensive budget. The budget will be presented to the council in accordance with the city charter at the next city council meeting on Tuesday, October 6th, and that's done as a presentation at the top of the meeting. I've spent the last several months preparing the public and the council for the challenges that we will be facing with the 2021 comprehensive budget. We are working with approximately now $41.9 million in revenue for 2021, down from our $48.7 million adopted budget here in 2020, which is an approximate revenue difference of $7 million, 2021 over 2020. And at this time, some of our numbers are based on projections, for example, healthcare and retirement costs that we have yet to solidify. According to our city charter, we must put forward a balanced budget, which means we will need to reduce expenses by that same $7 million in 2021. This has been one of the most challenging budgets that I have faced during my 9-year tenure. It is requiring many difficult decisions and a hard look at how to use our limited resources for what we believe are our most immediate priorities and our essential services. Without assistance from the federal government for state and local governments, and in particular for the city of Saratoga Springs, we are looking at large across-the-board expense reductions with a focus on keeping our city government intact by providing essential city services throughout 2021. Thank you. And with that, my item number 2 is to set a public hearing, 2021 comprehensive budget. We are required under the charter to have 2 public hearings for the comprehensive budget. The first will be scheduled for October 13th, and the second will be scheduled when we're ready for the amended budget to be reviewed. I always like to give the budget at least 15. No, the first public hearing is the next meeting after the budget is.
That would be October 20th.
Yes. Okay. I apologize. I have the wrong date written down.
I didn't know if we were doing something
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. No, we're coming in a week early. We're having a meeting every Tuesday now. So I apologize. Thank you for that catch. I like 15 minutes for the budget. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, moving on. Item number 3 is a discussion and vote. Local law number 2 of 2020, a local law to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2021 pursuant to the General Municipal Law, Section 3C. This law is written in standard language used by a multitude of New York State jurisdictions that have looked to override the property tax cap. Again, the law authorizes the council the option to override the property tax cap for the purposes of establishing its 2021 budget. It does not require the council to do so, nor does it specify the amount of the override within the law. I'm hoping for full council support so we can maximize all reasonable options and do our best to deliver the services that all departments have requested. I move that the City Council approve the local law to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2021 pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 3C, as included and uploaded with the agenda. This is a motion, and I will ask for a roll call vote, please.
Roll call, please. I'm sorry. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor, I'm going to support this, and we're going to do a roll call. I'm hoping also maybe the governor will look at this for other municipal. Our budget's a little bit earlier, and hopefully we'll just waive this in general for short term because the states, nobody's going to be able to make this from what I can see. But obviously, I'm going to support this wholeheartedly.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Frank?
Aye.
Commissioner Madigan?
Aye.
Commissioner Saratoga?
Aye.
Commissioner Dalton?
Aye.
Mayor Kelly?
Aye. The matter passes.
Thank you, Council. Item number 4 is an update, Sci-Fi Smart City citywide fiber project. It's been a while since I've had an update on our citywide fiber project with Sci-Fi Networks. They will be building a privately funded fiber network throughout every city street in Saratoga Springs, as many of you may recall. And given the need for how high-quality connectivity has become a necessity at home, especially especially as it's been relating to COVID-19, and at work, improving the city's technological infrastructure has really been a priority of mine for some time. To this end, in August of 2018, you may recall that the City Council unanimously approved a development agreement with Sci-Fi Networks, through which the company will design, install, and maintain a city-wide fiber optic network that will reach every home and business in Saratoga Springs at no cost to the city. While wireless technology continues to advance, fiber has the ability to transmit data at the speed of light. Barring a change in the law of physics, fiber will be the most effective, stable way to send information for the foreseeable future into the next century and beyond. This stability is especially important for businesses and is one of the reasons this project has the potential to have material economic development impact for our city and region. Fiber-to-fiber ground connectivity between our city recreation center and City Hall is the reason essential city services were up and running within 3 days following the lightning strike on City Hall 2 years ago, August. As for wireless technologies, 5G is starting to be rolled out in some municipalities, and 6G will follow at some point, but it takes years for these technologies to become commonplace. Will include many of the same wireless limitations we all deal with today, and will require upgrades in equipment and data plans at no small cost to consumers. Fiber will make it easier to connect our street lights and allow the city to do more with smart technologies in our outdoor public spaces. To date, Sci-Fi Networks is working with approximately 20 cities in the United States, with active plans to work with many other cities in the very near future. The city and Sci-Fi have aligned interests to build a cutting-edge fiber network that reaches every Saratogian, providing fast and reliable connectivity at affordable prices, and to work with high-quality internet providers that can meet the individual needs of city residents and businesses. The project is in full design stage with our city engineering department. There have been active meetings as of late. I want to thank engineering and DPW for the time they are providing on this very important project. I look forward to updating the City Council and the public on our progress and expectations moving forward. The goal at this point is to begin construction on the network in the spring of 2021. Item number 5 is a discussion and vote authorization for the mayor to sign Addendum 2 with Bolton St. John's for government services. In the wake of the elimination of VLT aid from the governor's 2021-22 executive budget, the city enlisted professional assistance at Bolton St. John's. Its efforts were vital in obtaining the reinstatement of VLT aid via the New York State budget that was passed in April. Their contract was renewed for an additional 3 months at a reduced rate. That renewal expires on September 30th. The expertise of Bolton St. John has been effective and beneficial during this fiscal crisis brought on up by COVID-19. The state is beginning to craft its next budget, and it's important for the city to have someone in Albany on site to support our needs. They're also actively in touch with what's happening with federal government legislators. I'm asking council to approve 3 additional months of assistance from Bolton St. John, October through December, at the same reduced monthly rate of $1,000 per month for an additional $3,000. I move that the City Council authorize the mayor to sign Addendum 2 to Bolton St. John's Agreement for Governmental Relations as included with the agenda. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Council. Item number 6 is discussion and vote, budget transfers, payroll. Lines 1 through 8 transfer funds to cover accounts department payroll lines that require adjustment through year end in the amount of $7,532. Lines 9 through 15 transfer funds to cover mayor department's payroll lines that require adjustment through year end in the amount of $6,534. Lines 16 through 23 transfer funds to cover public works department retirement incentives, realign CHIP funds, and ensure sufficient sick leave payout appropriations, all in the amount of $23,382.27. Lines 24 through 29 transfer covers funds to cover sewer fund department retirement incentive and sick leave payout lines that require adjustment through year end in the amount of $2,354.70. I move that the City Council approve the budget transfers payroll as included with the agenda. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. That completes my agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
On to Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item on my agenda is discussion and votes. Authorization for the mayor to sign a contract with Paletti Stone Corporation for precast manholes, catch basins, dry wells, risers, frames, and covers. This agreement is a bid extension between Paletti Stone Corporation and the City of Saratoga Springs. Paletti will provide the city with precast manholes, catch basins, dry wells, frames, and covers not to exceed unit bid prices per the June 25, 2019 proposal. The terms of this agreement are effective upon council approval and will be completed by September 15, 2021. Therefore, I move for the mayor to sign a contract with Paletti Stone Corporation for precast manholes, catch basins, dry wells, risers, frames, and covers not to exceed unit bid price per June 25th, 2019 proposal. And I put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Second item on my agenda is discussion and vote. This is authorization for the mayor to sign change order number 14 with DLC Electric LLC for the City Hall renovation electric. Change order number 14 with DLC Electric is due to the following change in the scope of work. The addition of audio-visual equipment and cabling in the city council room, an upgraded projector and screen was replaced in the council room to ensure high-quality public viewing. Therefore, I move for the mayor to sign change order number 14 with DLC Electric LLC for the City Hall renovation electric in the amount of $18,703, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
And that concludes my agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. On to Public Safety.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item on my agenda is discussion and vote authorization for the mayor to sign an agreement with NYRA for the 2020 racing season. This is our annual agreement with NYRA that provides for firefighting personnel and equipment for the racing meet at the Saratoga Racecourse. I make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with NYRA. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I have a question. Why are we signing it after the racing meet?
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay, so we just need to check on that.
Yeah,
I think that being new, maybe it didn't get passed through early enough.
Yeah, I think it was just because the needs were a little bit different.
Okay,
yes.
so let's just check on that. Yep. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
The second item on my agenda is discussion and vote. Amend Chapter 225, Section 225-77 of the City Code, Schedule 12, stop intersections. This is to allow for a four-way stop to be installed at the intersection of Grand Avenue and Walnut Street. I make a motion to amend Chapter 225, Section 225-77 of the City Code, Schedule 12, stop intersections, stop sign on Grand Avenue, direction of both travel at intersection of Walnut Street. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
That concludes my agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. On to Supervisor. Supervisor Veach.
Thank you, Mayor. Is this off or is it on?
I think it's on. You just
all right.
need to
It's hard to
speak
hear
into
from
it.
this
Yeah.
point.
Thank you, Mayor. First on my agenda is just to talk about a quick resolution that we passed today at the county, recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the month of October. The resolution essentially is annually done by us through the DA's office, and we recognize those agencies that assist with domestic violence in the county and acknowledge the work that they do, including Wellspring here in the city, and we're glad to pass that resolution on an annual basis, recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Second on my agenda is a quick update to talk about the work from home policy at the county. There are some recent articles in the press regarding an employee who appears was at first maybe denied their ability to work from home due to some issues that the person was having personally. But at this point, they have been able to now work from home from the county. But one of the things that was discussed in the article was that the Board of Supervisors did not have a work from home policy, which we don't, and that we wouldn't pass one. But at the end of the day, we've started the process for doing a work from home policy at the county. We've discussed it at our law and finance meeting last week, and we're going to have a special HR committee at the county to look at developing the proposal. I know that Supervisor Gaston and myself have both been working very hard to try to see if there's something we can do for the flexibility for our employees at the county, whether it's a personal issue they may have or something related to COVID or something else, to make it easy for our employees to perform their jobs at the best of their ability at all times. So it's something that we're working on, looking at, and hopefully we can start developing at the county going forward. It's kind of an internal thing, but it's good that we are doing that and starting that process. Third on my agenda is a quick update on the search for our public health commissioner. It is getting underway. We have a committee set up by our county policy, which includes the chairman of the board, the county administrator, the chairman of our law and finance committee, our HR committee chairman, and the HR director. In this case, we're going to be hiring a medical doctor for the first time in Saratoga County, hence the term public health commissioner. In my opinion, I think that what we need to do is I expect that committee to work through their process. They'll give us a recommendation, but at the end of the day, I believe the Board of Supervisors has the ultimate decision-making process. And for my own personal view, I wish and I hope and I expect that the committee will share their info for all the candidates that are interviewed to the Board of Supervisors so we can make an informed decision on their recommendation. This is not a normal hire for the county. This is a medical doctor, a public health commissioner who's going to make very strong decisions for us. So I think the process that we normally do should be a little bit more robust than having the Board of Supervisors make the ultimate decision and really examine the interviewees. Normally we get presented with a final name and we don't usually see the process behind the scenes as supervisors, but in this case I think we need to be intimately involved in that process. Fourth on my agenda is just a quick update on 31 Woodlawn Avenue. We had a resolution today at Saratoga County. Again, it's kind of a little bit of a long process here, but we, in the last couple of months, there's some discussions that have been going on between the shelters of Saratoga, the Salvation Army, and others that were looking to do something regarding the homeless situation we have here in the city. Additionally, the county had a meeting with the Shelters of Saratoga board, and the topic was brought up in that meeting about the COVID-19 and the current location for our Code Blue location on Adelphi Street. And what would we do to handle the overflow of people coming out of Adelphi? As you may know, public health has determined that less people will be allowed to stay at that location to ensure social distancing, and it may or may not be unlikely, but it is possible that a hotel may not be available next year for Code Blue. So the original idea was to provide a temporary homeless resource center in the Woodlawn Avenue building to help get those folks off of the streets and connected to services. That was the original plan that was put forth for the Buildings and Grounds Committee. But as we started talking about it at the committee, the ideas were brought up about that and doing a lease agreement with Shelters of Saratoga for the building. And really, it's only part of the building. It's only one floor of the building. And basically, if we did it now, it's in September, we're starting to get into colder weather. Timing was an issue. And so if we had done an agreement now, it may take us a whole month to get it set up. And then maybe in a month from now, we decide that we're selling the building and they can barely get a homeless resource center set up in that amount of time. So somebody had brought it up, and I don't remember which supervisor it was. It might have been Supervisor Barrett from Clifton Park. Said something about doing a longer term lease with them so they can do this resource center. And so we said, okay, that's an idea. And as we're getting into the Code Blue season, maybe we should do it through the period of Code Blue. and have this floor of Woodlawn be a overflow location for Code Blue. So it won't be the primary Code Blue location. We already have that on Adelphi Street, but it'll be an overflow location when we exceed the number of people at that location. So it was a long, interesting discussion at the Board of Supervisors at our Buildings and Grounds Committee, but we did unanimously agree as a committee to go ahead with a lease from October 1st through March 31st to coincide with the Code Blue season for SOS. It will be a resource center primarily, but if there is overflow needed, we will use it for that as well. It was unanimous at the Buildings and Grounds Committee, unanimous vote at Law and Finance, and unanimously voted on by the Board of Supervisors today. In my opinion, it's only until March 31st, 2021, during the stated time of Code Blue season by the state. We are still looking for a buyer for the building. And the building will still be shown while it's being used in this manner. But we do have that lease with Shelters of Saratoga, so we are happy that we were able to do that at the county. And really the credit goes to the entire Board of Supervisors on this. It could have been a very difficult discussion, but it seemed to flow through pretty easy. So at the end of the day, I appreciate that from them and thank them for their support. So, and if any...
Well, I do have a couple of comments. You do have a buyer for the building. The city wants to buy it. We sent you a letter. Did you receive that?
I did.
Okay. So, and the other thing is, I hope that Shelters knows that they had a hard time staffing one facility. So the staffing over there is critical because now we have more neighbors that are going to be calling the mayor. So I don't know if anybody's discussed that with them, but it's critical that we have this running as a real operation, not just a overflow, because this is where the problems come when things aren't thought out. And I'm just saying there were enough problems for me over at Adelphi. How many people are there? Anybody know? There's going to be 40. Okay, we had in excess of 65. So you're going to have the remaining over at Woodlawn, right? You have two complete staffs. I mean, this is what, if I was on the Board of Supervisors, these were questions that I would have asked. I don't know if they were asked. But, to me, it's a staffing issue and a safety issue. So if our city cars are being parked there, that changes the game. Just saying.
I just have a question. So is this, sorry, you said resource center and then also Code Blue. So during the day it would be open as a resource center?
Yes.
That's all. Great.
Yeah, so I just don't, this is the first I've heard about it. I don't know if anybody else has heard about this, but nobody's discussed it with the city as far as the mayor. And I feel that there's a big disconnect here. And to me, I know how Code Blue runs. It is a very difficult run, very difficult. And for the supervisors not to be asking those questions, I think that there's a problem there.
Okay.
So,
the mayor's got some issues, but I think it's. I am happy to see the county getting involved with Code Blue because since Code Blue has started, I have. Not that you've not completely been involved, but I've actually looked at that building a few times and gone, oh, wouldn't that be great for something like Code Blue?
Well, again, if the city is interested in the building, I'm happy to sit down with all of you again. And I did receive your letter. I don't know if any other commissioners, some commissioners have reached out to me, some have not. So I don't know where the city council stands on this, but I certainly know where you stand on it. And
this letter, we had an executive session and we all discussed it. So it is from the council. I sent it from me, the mayor of the city.
Right.
But I do believe anybody can chime in. If you want to send a letter to the Matt Beach at the supervisor level, that'd be fine.
I want to meet with both supervisors as I'm getting ready to go into putting out the budget. What I really heard is that there's some more time.
Yeah, well, this allows for more time for that to happen.
Yeah, so more time for the city to kind of work with you and potentially negotiate because there's not a whole lot of money, but there's not a whole lot of buildings left, and it would be nice or space in downtown, and City Hall can never get any bigger. Right. I'd love to find a way to get our hands on that building.
Okay.
I'm
happy to.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
I would love to be able to sit down with SOS and you guys to talk about how, for example, transportation is going to work between the Code Blue and Adelphi Street when there's overflow, how they're getting over to the Woodlawn location, and kind of how we're managing this, because it is introducing...
totally fine with me.
Yeah.
Shelters of Saratoga are the ones who have agreed to do this.
Right.
They've been managing the Code Blue for the county for all these years, and so, again, maybe I shouldn't assume, Mayor, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
but
I just know it's a difficult handle.
Right. They're doing it, and we expect them to do it as they have been doing it.
Well, as we all know in this room, there's transitions there too. So, I mean, we're looking at a transitional Shelters of Saratoga going into a season immediately with now not one but 2 locations. That's a big ask of a small agency.
Yes.
And I think that, I foresee that we're going to have difficulty.
Okay.
And I'm going to, I'm just saying, let's see if we could prevent it.
Yeah.
And get on the same page, because I'm going to tell you, it is not an easy thing to do. You cannot keep these places staffed. It is difficult. So, I mean, to do 2 full staffings, I think it's crazy.
I do just want to say, though, I applaud the fast action. I mean, this seems to have happened very quickly.
Yeah, well, I didn't go into the Buildings and Grounds meeting with Code Blue in mind.
Yeah.
That just kind of happened, so, yeah.
And based on my experience with the county prior to this and dealing with issues about Code Blue, it's been very, very, very slow. So I appreciate that this was discussed, and I think hopefully we can work out the challenges.
Sure.
Well, I know you're still stuck standing up there, but this is so, I didn't expect this information this evening, so there's a part of me that's excited. There's a part of me that understands what the mayor's saying, because running 2 locations could be tough, but I also see that it maybe gives the city a little more time to really look at that building, because we are on the hook. We've made some commitments about Code Blue post this 2-year temporary time too, right? That we wanted to have a permanent location for Code Blue, and so that's something I've always wanted to sort of work on with the county as well. But have you guys possibly considered just letting Code Blue operate? Maybe you can go back to Buildings and Ground completely. And so there aren't 2 locations, if that's an issue, because there's tons of space there.
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I mean, that would have to go back. I mean, the initial plan is to rent or lease 1 floor out,
right?
Not the whole building. So
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but the other thing I will say is that for someone who was a resident and found out that Code Blue was going to be in my block, it turned out to be a really positive experience, but at the time, it was something that I wish I had gotten a heads up about before. So I think talking to the neighbors on Woodlawn, the businesses around there, making sure...
It's too late now.
I know.
I know.
Well,
it's just overflow.
But I'm just saying, I think
it doesn't matter. They have it now at Woodlawn parking garage, and now it's going to be more permanent. So that neighborhood is going to be impacted one way or the other.
So I guess what I'm saying is probably it would be a good thing to get in touch with those businesses and have some proactive conversations with them so they understand that we're working on concerns and fine tuning this so we can have it be as.
Good luck.
Okay.
Good luck.
All right. That's it for my agenda. Thank you.
Yep. Supervisor Gaston.
The first item on my agenda is just a COVID-19 update. We have had a slight uptick of cases in the county recently. Some of it is a little confusing because college students who test positive elsewhere, but then who come back to Saratoga County to isolate, are counted in our numbers. So some of this is an actual community spread out increase, but a significant portion of it is not.
Wait. Can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
I misunderstood that then, because I was told that if somebody was in our hospital from another community, they are counted in their community.
There's a distinction between college students and any other individual. I don't know for what reason college students have been counted this way, but it's the way that was passed down from the state. So that's why when they say part of the increase is due to college students, it's not our college students that are engaging in risky behaviors that are causing increased community spread. It is college students who are being brought in, including Oswego, and then if they're here, if they're moved while they're a positive case, they're counted in our numbers for that period of time. Some of the case rise is Saratoga Bridges had an outbreak, and the County Department of Health, Department of Public Health still, has been working very closely with them to make sure, obviously, the The risk that we've been hoping to avoid this entire time is when you get in residential facilities like that, it becomes very difficult to control. But Saratoga Bridges is working with the county. They have controlled it, and they have maintained the spread from going to any other buildings than the one that currently has the outbreak. So we appreciate them working with them and reaching out to the county as soon as they did. There is some increase in community spread, so it's important that we all still do what we're doing here, wearing our masks, being careful. I love the idea, and as does the Department of Health, of increased outdoor dining, although no one wants to be covered in snow while they're doing it, so totally understand the commissioner's concerns. Currently, we have 79 active cases, so we're going down a little bit. We actually didn't have any new cases today, so that's great, and we did have testing. We had a couple hundred tests run.
Okay, I'm going to back up again to the college thing. You stumped me there, so go over that again for me.
College students, if they were diagnosed with COVID-19
elsewhere.
Right. Let's say, sorry, Cornell. Let's say they were at Cornell and they were diagnosed and they returned home after a positive test. They are also counted in our records.
Oh, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, yes. I misunderstood. Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The other thing that's very important that the Department of Public Health wants to get across is to get your flu shots. Many people don't normally get them this early this year, and doctors are already kind of panicking about that, but it's really helpful, especially because a lot of the symptoms of flu are similar to that of COVID, and to prevent the spread of COVID, and for all of us who are parents and trying to have their children in school, it's very beneficial to get your flu shots ahead of time. And also, as a result of COVID, the governor initiated absentee ballot applications for anyone, and if you go to absenteeballot.elections.ny.gov, you can online request an absentee ballot application. It's just an application. It is not an actual ballot, and it is verified, but anyone can present temporary illness on their absentee ballot and get an absentee ballot instead of having to show up, although we will be having early voting and standard voting for those who wish to vote in person. This is a way for those who do not wish to go in person to the polls. The second item on my agenda is the External Review Committee. We last met on September 10th. We were in executive session for over 3 hours, but no action was taken at the end of it. We will be meeting again on September 22nd at 3:45. I anticipate a lot of executive session again that way as well. We had hoped to have recommendations by today, but the schedule does not permit, and obviously we want to be very careful and deliberate in discussing all of these matters and determining what, if any, action is taken as a result. However, the Board of Supervisors did vote today with regards to the external report to authorize E. Stewart Jones to issue an amended report. The original external report contained a matter of employment law that was later determined not to be accurate. While that was corrected on August the 18th, apologies. They didn't issue an amended report, and they could not without a vote of the full Board of Supervisors. So that will now be completed. The third item on my agenda...
Can I just make one comment on this?
Yes.
I hope that is resolved as quickly as possible. Given what I read in the report, it was really disturbing to think that those decisions were made and those same people are still making decisions right now for the county. And so I hope the committee wraps up its work as quickly as possible.
As I serve on that committee, I will not make any comment, but I also agree that I would like the county to be able to move forward as quickly as possible and to get back to the trust of our residents.
And it did seem like there was an issue with Kathy Duncan, who had retired and then was brought back. It just seemed really...
That is separate. That's not under the external review.
Right.
She retired, and there was a minor contract, which by our rules, the county administrator has the authority to issue a minor contract for up to $15,000. And he did so, bringing her back to serve as... I'm actually quite happy to have her in the position she's in. I do kind of wish that we knew about that.
It spoke to the communication issues, I guess, is what I'm saying.
But Kathy Duncan, for those who aren't aware, former Director of Public Health, is now serving as our liaison to the school districts in the county to make sure that they have all of their systems set up. And I know the schools in Saratoga have been doing a great job with setting up isolation rooms and testing, and more emails than I could ever read in my life. So the third item on my agenda is regarding Executive Order 203. This is the police reform executive order that was issued by the governor. Unfortunately, unlike Saratoga Springs, the county has not been moving very quickly on this, and in fact has pretty much delegated it to the sheriff's office. We are still seeking some more work on this because in my reading and the reading of many other people, the executive order does not allow us to delegate all of the review and discussion and recommendations to the Sheriff's Department. I've been asked by a number of constituents, and I'm sorry that I don't have anything else to report for them, except we're working very hard on this, particularly because the executive order is so broad in its punishment. If you do not go through the proper procedure by April the 1st, that I'm not sure what all state or federal funding the county may lose if we do not comply with this. So,
well, a lot of people are doing it in a lot of different ways in this area, so hopefully they can look around at the various creative approaches people have taken in the region. And
I think the important note is that the executive order requires the political subdivision and the executive of that political subdivision to run it. That would be the chairman of the board and not the Sheriff's Department.
Correct.
And I want to make sure that we don't lose out on any potential state or federal funding, and I don't know whether that's confined to law enforcement or anything else either. The executive order is a little broad that way.
Well, a lot of cities are running it differently, and I personally have taken a lot of heat for not chairing our task force, and the reason why I'm not chairing is that I will be voting on it, and that's different from the Albany, Schenectady mayors that I'm being compared to. They're not voting on this.
To be clear, I don't believe that the chief executive has to do that, but they do have to be a part of the formation of it.
Of course,
such as you,
of course,
appointing the task force, and that's where the problem is.
I just wanted to clarify that for people out there listening that have been saying she should be running it.
No, it is the responsibility of the chief executive to appoint or oversee, not necessarily to sit on the task force. I agree. It makes a lot of sense. People need to be able to speak freely when they're discussing these issues, and I think that
right. I've been on every city's website from across the state down to Long Island, and you could see that every city is picking a different route to do this, and so it's really tough without guidance from the state. And I think that it would have been very, very helpful to get guidance on how to do this the easy way.
But it is called a mayor's task force.
Yeah,
of course, it's a significant appointee. So I think we're ahead of the game.
Yeah. Yes. If you look at other cities, Saratoga Springs is moving ahead, and we're getting the process started. So I think that we're sitting in a good position.
I'm quite pleased with how quickly the city is working, and it's important that it's not just cities; it's also any political subdivision that has a policing agency, which that's why the county would also fall under that. So the fourth item is a Board of Supervisors update. Supervisor Veach brought up the Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I think that's particularly important because all of our mental health practitioners, Wellspring, and our law enforcement have all seen an uptick during COVID. It's important that anyone realizes that if they need assistance, they can get it. And for us to have a month right now to raise awareness and recognition of that is pretty important. The Commissioner of Health, I'm looking forward to that. That will be the first time that we've had a medical doctor who also has a master's in public health leading. And it also means that our Department of Health will be increasing in size. So instead of just being a public health department, we will be doing things like environmental health, which will be great for our local restaurants. I know I have helped a number try and get food and beverage permits from the state, and that's no fun. Being able to do it more locally, I think, will benefit our businesses as they're trying to rebuild and recover from COVID as well. Supervisor Veach also spoke about 31 Woodlawn. I don't have a lot to say more than you already said and was discussed, except I really appreciate and want on the record the recognition of the county departments that have been working very hard towards planning for this. Employment and training will be there, veterans will be there, Department of Social Services, mental health, a variety of county departments will be there in order to assist this population. It is something that Supervisor Veach and myself have been working for, at least I have since I got on the board, and I know Matt has been working, advocating before that. And we're really excited to be able to have this. It will be, I think it will be something very good. And I understand that it's a lot, and it's confusing, and it's surprising, but it's time that the county stepped up and did more. And I know that we've spoken a lot about the population that's utilizing Woodlawn.
Yes.
And we're hopeful that this will be able to bring in some of them and remove the excuse to be able to sit on the street as well. And we can also provide them a safe place to be from the weather and provide services as well. And
I should let you all know that I have on my next agenda a full report on how we've been handling the issue of homeless and vagrancy on Woodlawn. So
I also am starting a homeless court with Judge Vero. Okay. And so we're put that together with transitional services. So we have an outreach person from transitional services that will look at the court docket and go out and find those people and bring them in, because I've had one of my community planners sit in court for the last 3 weeks and nobody shows up. Mm-hmm. So it's that's the problem. You can give all the tickets you want, Commissioner, but this is the reality.
Yeah, it is.
And so we put together this court with Lindsay Connors, and Karen Gregory started it before she left with Judge Vero. And so we'll be starting that in October.
That's great.
And so that is underway, and I think that will be helpful, bringing the people here. We'll have somebody that can get them services, whatever they need, and make the plan with the judge.
Okay.
So
I think
looking forward to learning more about
options that we work together, I think is great. And our hope, I want to give particular thanks to the Director of Employment and Training, who, when asked to help work with this population, has taken the reins, and she's gone. I can't find her. She has so many ideas.
She can go to Woodlawn.
She's been there, but she's running with her ideas. The last thing that I want to say is today I've been contacted by a number of constituents regarding their concerns about representation. And today at the Board of Supervisors, I felt compelled to make a statement, and I want to make sure that anyone who watches or pays any attention to county board meetings knows that if I am not in the beginning of board meetings from now on, the invocation at the beginning of Board of Supervisors meetings has become increasingly hostile and sectarian, to the point that I've had constituents respond to it, and I felt uncomfortable with it today, as did other supervisors. I have asked the county attorney to review the jurisprudence regarding legislative prayer, and until the Board of Supervisors responds in a way that is respectful of all constituents of any religion, I will not enter the board meeting until after the invocation has taken place. And I will have that reason read on the record. So if you do not see me in the beginning of meetings, it is not because I am not there. It is because I am taking a stand on behalf of my constituents. I do not believe it is appropriate for any constituent, based on their political viewpoints or their religious viewpoints, to be attacked in an invocation at the Board of Supervisors. And after 33 meetings, I guess I had to make my stand there.
Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.